Greetings YouTube and welcome back to my channel. I've had a lot of questions over the last year about my camping setup. It is very much a camping setup on a budget. Let me take you through it. Let's have it. So obviously the most important ingredient when it comes to camping, motorcycle camping or otherwise, is the tent. And my tent is made by a company called OEX. I've had it for, I don't know, probably 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. It wasn't particularly expensive. It came from Go Outdoors, I think. If you're a UK resident, you'll know of that chain of outdoor shops. I think it was about £120, something like that. Now, I went for the Cougar model and I went for the Cougar 2, being a two-person tent. Now, I know there's only one of me. Usually when I'm camping, I have gone camping with my son Ben when we did the Wild Atlantic Way. But a two-man tent means I've got a bit more room. I think a little bit of luxury, if there's any such thing as luxury when you're camping, is quite important. Now, it's served me very well. It's never leaked on me in all the time I've had it, and it's windproof as well. It doesn't seem to get rattled about too much by the wind, and I've been in some fairly fierce winds, especially up John O'Groats area camping. One thing I have noticed now after all this time is the zip at the top of the door is starting to go. So that's the only thing though. Excuse the mess in here, I'll just show you inside. It's the only thing that's causing an issue. It has some pockets that end and some pockets this end for your bits and bobs, and enough room for two people, but definitely enough room for one person such as myself. I can spread my gear out and not feel completely cramped. What I particularly like about this tent is it goes up with the outer cover first, so if it's raining when you put your tent up, the inside's not getting wet. Having said that, I've just, since the very first time I ever used it, I've just left it attached. So these little hooks here hold the inner to the outer. I've just always left it attached, and I just put it all up in one go, and it's never been a problem. It takes me about 10 minutes to erect this tent. Now, the second most important ingredient I think for camping or successfully camping is probably going to be considered quite an extravagance by a lot of people, but for me it's the difference between getting a good night's sleep and not sleeping at all. And it's this. I always bring a pillow from home. I know it takes up a lot of room, but it's worth it because it means I get to sleep properly, or as properly as I ever can when camping. What I also do is bring a bin bag to put it in, because although I have a waterproof hold-all for all this stuff, last thing you want is a wet pillow. Most important, decent pillow. Okay, the next consideration is the sleeping bag. Now again, I don't have an expensive sleeping bag. All of this is done on a budget. I bought this probably 15 years ago from Argos, I believe. It cost about £30. It's Pro Action sleeping bag. This is supposedly a winter one. It's quite thick. It's got a head compartment, so to speak. It's okay. It's not super warm. I wouldn't call it a 3 or 4 season sleeping bag, but it's okay. I also have a much lighter summer one that I bring when it's the height of summer, but again, not expensive, but it does the job. And it packs down into a bag this size, which again, this is quite bulky, but it's okay. I carry quite a large waterproof bag with me to put everything in, and it's a sacrifice I'm prepared to make to try and have a little bit of comfort. Okay, the sleeping mat that I use It's made by High Gear. The model is ultra light. This again was bought, I think, exactly the same time as I bought this tent. It's from Go Outdoors. It's a budget model. It was about £25. It's self-inflating, which simply works when you open the valve after it's been packed away. It's all squashed up and the foam gets squashed, creates a kind of a vacuum. As you release the valve and open it out, the foam expands, sucking a load of air in with it, and it fills it up, I don't know, about halfway, and then the rest is blowing into it to get it blown up. To get it down, I have to kind of squash it all out, lay on it, which I'm going to do inside the tent in a second, and then I roll it up and put it in its little pouch. This is the second one of these I've had. The first one, after quite a few years of use, the thread on the brass valve stripped, and so it wouldn't seal off properly, and over the course of a night it would let all the air out and I'd be sleeping on the cold ground. It generally insulates you pretty well, this cheap old mat. I have seen others appearing on YouTube being advertised which look much thicker and a lot better, and you inflate them with a foot pump and stuff. Maybe at some point I'll invest in another tent, which I will have to do. I quite like the look of the Lone Rider stuff, but that's all quite expensive for me, to be honest. I think their tents, I don't know, somebody will correct me, around sort of £400, something like that, which, you know, is in the grand scheme of things not a lot to pay for a tent, I guess. But it all adds up, doesn't it? Anyway, this goes in this little bag here. I like things having their own neat little bag to go in. As I say, I think this was about £25. Go Outdoors. I have no connection or affiliation with any of these companies at all. It's just the stuff I happen to use for cooking, and I say cooking in the loosest sense of the terms. Usually for me it's just heating stuff up when I'm camping. Obviously gas canister, and I use this very, very small and very good compact stove, which is made by MSR. Fits into this little triangular plastic thing, breaks down like this. Just fold it, twist it off. To put it away, I have to just open the valve slightly so the arm will go up, and then away it goes. This was I don't know, I can't remember how much this was, probably £25 again, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. And it came from Cotswold Outdoor Company. I then have this old collection of pans that you can cook with. Has a handle in there as well. I have no idea where that came from or how much it costs, but I've been using it for probably 25 years now, something like that. I used to take it away with me when I was camping with my two boys, when it was just me and the boys, when they were like 4 and 5, and we were freshly all alone together, going away in our camper van. So a bit of sentimental value there as well. So I use a spoon, knife and fork, little set there. That wasn't very expensive, less than a tenner. A thermos, or not thermos branded, but a flask for drinking from, keeps it warm. Don't tend to use that. I end up just using this most of the time and just drink water. I usually bring coffee and tea and stuff in little containers like this, but if I just show you what's gone on here, you'll see why the coffee's dried up. So I should have planned ahead a bit better, but didn't. So I've kind of got to the point where I don't even bring coffee and tea. I'll just drink water and then I'll get a coffee out somewhere. Plastic plate, plastic bowl, use from time to time. Quite often what I'll do is if I'm camping, it's all about the convenience, and I'll heat up a ready meal that's just comes in a packet, and you just heat it for 10 minutes and then it's completely fine. And if I want something better to eat, then I'll go out and eat in a restaurant or a cafe. And I put all of this stuff inside this, which came from Just Campers, a British company that supplies stuff for Volkswagen camper vans and camping in general. It's their waterproof stuff sack. It does tend to be waterproof. Fastens at the top with Velcro, then you roll it over, clip it together. I strap this to the back of my bike. It's quite large, takes up the whole of the pillion seat, and it's invariably full of all my stuff, my pillow, my tent, the sleeping roll, everything like that. But it keeps it all together and it keeps it dry. It's time for me to pack this away. I am currently on tour, and I thought I would take this opportunity, especially as I have this very rustic campsite to myself, to film this video. When I'm away camping, I put my clothes and all those kind of stuff in a Jivvy storm bag. Keeps it pretty waterproof. It's strong and sturdy. I did once travel through northern France, through all the rain I usually get in northern France, with one of these strapped to the top of the top box because I'd run out of room, and it did let water in after probably 10 hours of torrential rain. But certainly inside the aluminium pannier is absolutely fine. Right, what I consider to be the worst bit now, packing the tent down, and then I can get on with my tour, and I'll have shown you my setup. One good use for completely bent tent pegs is getting good tent pegs out of the ground. I always prefer to pack the tent away dry, but obviously in the real world it's impossible. It's soaking now. It is a nice day at the moment. It will dry out if I wait for the sun to come round and get on it. The sun's in the field over there. And then I spend another hour waiting or something, but that's not the case. It's going to be packed away wet, and then when I get it out next, hopefully it will dry out. And then if it doesn't dry out for the entire tour, then it gets dried out in my garden at home when I get home. Absolutely soaking wet, but it'll have to do. Right, that's the bike all packed away. Everything's in there. I've got room to move. My pillow is here, so it's actually giving me something comfortable to lean back against. There's one last thing that I mustn't forget, and I invariably often do, and then end up having to buy another one over and over again, and it is that little plastic plate there, which stops the bike from slipping, sliding, digging is the word I'm looking for, digging into the dirt, into the mud. This particular one is an Oxford one, I believe. I've had many, I've lost count. I used to get free ones when I'd go to like a trade show or something. Yeah, this is Oxford. You can rely on Oxford to provide you with decent quality, cheap bike gear. Again, I have no connection to any of these companies. So I'm going to put that in my top box before I lose it, and then I'm going to be on my way for the day. I hope you enjoyed seeing my setup. Like I say, camping, motorcycle camping on a budget. None of my gear is particularly expensive. The bike's the most expensive thing, but it works, and it's worked for me for a long time now. As I say, I may upgrade one day to maybe a lone rider tent, a better sleeping mat, maybe a better, a better everything. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I hope you liked today's episode. If you did, please give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. That really helps keeping things moving along, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.